Welcome to the Beginner Guides to Coffee, and today let's talk about grind size. One of the biggest problems for beginner baristas who get into coffee, they always struggle to get a perfect grind size, especially when they make espresso. Now, espresso is fun and sometimes frustrating because we have a lot of variables to control to get a delicious cup. Now, over the years, I've seen beginner baristas, they always struggle like, I have my machine, my grinder, what number should I use? Now, before you make an informed decision or before you choose the right grind size, there's some things you need to keep in mind. The kind of machine you're using, it means the kind of espresso machine you're using, the kind of grinder you're using, as well as the kind of coffee you're using. Now, when it comes to the espresso machine as a whole, we have different machines out there. Like I said before, we have dual boiler machines, we have heat exchange machine, we have single boiler machines. Now, all these machines will deliver pressure differently. So the way a dual boiler machine will extract coffee, it is different when a single boiler or a heat exchange machine will extract coffee. As well as the way a flat bed grinder will grind coffee, it is different from a conical bed grinder or a blade grinder. The way you brew a wash coffee, it is different when you brew a natural or an aerobic coffee. But how can you actually figure out the right grind size when you make your espresso? Now, for example, you have a coffee you've never used and you need to brew the coffee for espresso. However, the industry do have a guide how to extract espresso shot, which is 25 to 30 seconds, depending on the dose you start with. For example, if you start with 18 grams coffee, you need 36 ml out as a liquid espresso in 25 to 30 seconds. Now, anything below or above is not accepted. Now, if you're a beginner barista, that is your starting point. You brew the coffee, you track your variables, right? You track your extraction, the time, the yield, and everything. If it corresponds with your time, then that should be the right grind size. But again, for example, if you brew the coffee and notice that the coffee flow faster, it means the contact time between the water and the coffee is not enough, right? So now you go to your grinder, you go more finer, because when you go more finer, you expose more surface area because you need more resistance. Now, if you brew the coffee and you notice that the coffee matches, let's say, your time, for example, if you have 18 grams coffee, 36 ml out in 25 to 30 seconds, maybe 26, 27, 28, 29, and then you think the coffee is okay, then that should be the grind size for that particular coffee, that particular grinder, and that particular espresso machine. So if you change the grinder, you have different extraction. If you change the machine, you also have different extraction. And I'll explain. Now, you may have the same grinder, like the same Mitos grinder, but one grinder is old and one is new. Maybe one went for service and they changed the burr. So you have the same grinder, but you have different grind size. So what I'm trying to say is, if you have a coffee, any coffee, especially something you have never used, the first thing you need to do, grind the coffee, brew the coffee. Now start with your dose that you want to start with. Let's say 20 grams of coffee or 18 grams of coffee, depending on how much gram coffee you want to start with. Brew the coffee, check your extraction. If your extraction, maybe it flows slow, maybe you have over extracted coffee, from there you need to do some changes. If it's under extracted, you need to do some changes until you hit that sweet spot. Now, for beginner baristas, they extract the coffee in respect to the time, because most of the beginner baristas don't really understand when the coffee is acidic or the coffee is sour. For the professional baristas, they have the ability to taste coffee, so they know exactly when the coffee is balanced or when the coffee is acidic, when the coffee is sour, how they can remove that dryness in coffee, right? So as a beginner barista, don't stress too much, just keep everything simple, brew the coffee, follow the industry guide, how to extract your coffee, and then enjoy. So, answer your thoughts in the comments below, what kind of videos you want me to make. For now, I say thanks so much for watching and hope you have a great day.